Sign at the bottom. This is more or you actually
No. Also noted.
yeah, just sign here. You don't have to sign down there. Yeah. Sign there.
All good, April?
I don't know. Sign right here. He signed it on this. That rolling.
I have to do this, huh?
Yep.
You're welcome, Miss April.
If you find where I'm supposed to sign.
No, no.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Just sign right there. Guys, give you
Bam.
All right, it is 8:30. Call this meeting, this November 7th meeting of the Utilities Commission to order. The clerk can call the roll.
Mr. Sires,
Here.
Mr. Reinhardt,
Here.
Mr. Ball,
here.
Ms. Dusenberg.
Here.
All right, all present and accounted for. The minutes from the October 3rd meeting are in front of you. Are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, I'll call for approval by consensus.
And make a motion.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? There you go. Minutes are approved. Moving on to the adjustment journal. Anybody want to walk through those?
That one, just one this time around, and it's for Westgate Mobile Home Park. They had their leak
Okay.
approved last meeting.
Move to approve.
All right, we have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second?
Have a second? Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk can call the roll.
Mr. Sires,
Yes.
Mr. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Ball,
Yes.
Ms. Dusenberg.
Yes.
Motion carries. All right. Moving on to new business, we got Rebecca Cook, a leak credit at 800 South Main Street. Is Miss Cook here?
I just went ahead and took care of that one, just to
Okay,
consistent here. That's it.
all right. It seems like it was only $82.06, is that right?
Yes.
So that's under the administrative approval anyway, so. All right, so new business taken care of. Moving on in new business, Westgate payment plan request. All right,
Ladies and gentlemen and ladies of the commission, my name is
so
Vernon.
all the windows due to the extreme heat are going on, so you can speak into the mic, but if you will, just speak up a little bit.
How do
Now
you
that's
do,
this
ladies
one.
and gentlemen of the Utility Commission? I'm William Ostermiller. I'm representing Westgate. Mr.
Okay.
Bablamenti couldn't be here today and stuff. As you know, we've been working on a leak there at the park, getting it straightened out and everything. And while I was doing that, the water department came in and put in a new water meter in from where it's their main meter, and we pump it down to the sub-meters. It appears to be running somewhat fast. As our general bill is about $5,938.45 a month. This last few bills we've been getting has been coming to $7,663.38 a month. Okay, what Mr. Bablamenti would like is, if you guys could do it, is that I take on the 15th when he sends me down, to pay the water bill and everything. And if we pay $1,000 less, and then I take a check for $1,000 to Mr. Ball, he'll hold on to for this month, next month, and all the way up to March. That's when we'll be putting in our rent increase. This is what will be coming up and everything. And if you can't do it, then he said he'll have to try and figure out something he can sell to try and, get things caught up and everything. And that's what wants to know if you could maybe help out some.
I don't know why I would be involved at all in that conversation.
Yeah.
It's not a permit. You're not asking for any kind of a permit.
Right.
So this is with,
An adjustment is what we're asking for on the bill somewhat.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
That
be
is
able
what
to
we're
hear.
asking for.
I can't hear out of this ear and then this ear with trucks. I can't. Yeah.
Like I said, what we're asking for is basically an adjustment and everything and stuff, because something's going on, because we've gone through, we're even checking with the tenants and stuff, taking in dye tablets, putting them into their tanks, checking to see if they got any leaks in their toilets. We check every year, the heat tape underneath. If any leaks we found, we told the tenants about them. Told them they had to get them fixed because the vast majority of the mobile homes are owned by the tenants in the park, and stuff. And as Mr. Ball knows, we are requesting to be added onto the Crystal Avenue Water Project and everything. I took him in the petition last week, I think it was, is where I had over 90% of the residents had signed saying yes, they want to switch from the sub-meters to the city of Mount Vernon, building them directly and everything and stuff, and have the city come in and redo the water lines. And so there won't be any more problems with the water.
right,
Sure,
but that
stuff.
project might be 3 or 4 years from
Yeah, I already told them it'd be down the road a piece and stuff on that, but they know that we're talking with you guys and we're working with you to try and make things better and stuff. Like I said, what it is right now our water bill, because of this new meters, went up by about $1,800. There's just like, what's going on here? We ain't got no leaks. Leaks underneath that we can find. The ones that we did, the tenants have already addressed. And like I said, he's asking for, at least $1,000 grace each month on the water, which would catch up in March, which when the rent increase takes effect.
So you're looking for a monthly payment plan to?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So specifically for water billing? Water,
Yeah.
just water, not wastewater?
Just the water is what we're looking at. I mean, the whole bill altogether is, including the wastewater and everything, comes to $7,663.38. And
Say that number again, 7,000?
It's on it.
they're saying, let's see
Go
here.
past the minutes.
Here, the water is $2,213.45. The wastewater is
Not that one, the next whole
$3,674.75.
page.
Then we got the storm at $456. Then the township fee at $1,319.17. And it's bringing it to $7,663.38. And so, like I said, in March is when we have our rent increase, which we'll be able to, he'll catch that up in and everything. And because right now it's just not feasible at this point and stuff and everything.
So you, so you don't have a clause in your agreement to increase the utility fees?
No. No, it's billed through a second party who does the billing.
But you
And
don't
as
have
far as I
any-
know, there's no clause for increasing the fees.
I believe that if that's the situation that you're in and that the mobile home park is in, that you're gonna have to go talk to Mr. Reinhardt and Mrs. DiPolo and come up with some sort of proposed arrangement and then bring it back to the Utilities Commission for us to approve.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, right, when would be a good time for me to meet with you, Mr. Reinhardt, later this week?
We can, if you get a hold of her, I can contact you first thing next week.
Yeah, that'd be fine. And I'll talk to Mr. Bablamenti later today because he's not here right now. And I'm a resident there also at the park, and at times I help him out, and he's like, William, I need you to go down and talk to the commission. You're always helping me. I'm like, yes, okay, I'll get it took care of. If he found out I did some property management, and I was out in the Northwest and stuff, so he taps me at times.
Yeah.
Would you like me to just get a hold of Joe and set up
Oh,
something?
well,
or
I can,
yourself?
and you might not be able to get a hold of him. If you got a piece of paper or something, I'll give you my number.
Okay.
Sure. 419 560.
This is being broadcast, so unless you want everybody to have it. Thank you, sir.
I think it's important to say for the record, the meter that was replaced was old, and the older meters run slow. So what should be acknowledged is that Westgate had received water that was unbilled for some time. And a new meter would have been properly calibrated and adjusted, and now you're getting billed for actual usage, and you're getting less water for free. Meters don't run fast.
No, like I said, I knew there was something had
Yeah.
occurred and
Right,
stuff.
so our responsibility to the other users of the system is to maintain fairness. So systematically, the director and his staff have been changing out meters, and we've done this for years, and it's just that meter had gotten to an age where it needed replaced, that's why the replacement was done. So that's happening all over town systematically on a continuing basis.
Well, like I said, and I mean, he just wasn't prepared for this and stuff, and then we had that leak occurred on us. Kind of like, whoa, what the heck?
Right. Now, we did have a conversation that if the system is to be replaced, we would treat it like a development. So the city will help make applications, but if there's any kind of loan or any kind of local share, the park would be the one to have to fund that because it's private property.
Right.
So Liberty Crossing is working to install water lines. They're paying for all their water lines. The developer pays for 100%. So we want to reiterate that it's not misunderstood. The city's going to be a partner in this, the same as we are with any other developer, but we're not doing it out of our pocket.
Right, which
So
I
that system
understand.
would be replaced either with hopefully some grant money and the local share. So as Joe's working through these agreements, he should think about saving up for his local share, because if we come up with a deal that say is 75% grant money and 25% local, and he doesn't have the money, we're gonna have to turn the 75% back.
Right, I
Because
understand
you're probably
that.
gonna have a 2-year performance period. So it's difficult to write grants, and then it's like, well, we really want this, but we don't have the money to pay the bill. If he really wants a new water system, there needs to be some planning, and there needs to be some savings, because he will have a cost share. Utility projects grants are never 100%.
I understand
There's
that.
always some
from
local share.
Where
You'll have
like I
to
said,
do
I
that.
worked in the property management and stuff, and that's what it always was, is that we had to come up with a percentage, and the city had the other percentage, that
Right.
they put in.
So-
and everything.
As you meet with Aaron, you guys should think about the framework of how that works.
Right. 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 And yeah, I'll meet with Aaron here next week and everything and stuff. I mean, like I said, he taps me to help out and stuff, and my view is quite a simple view. I'm a resident, and when he taps me to help out with stuff and he gives me little breaks, hey, that's great. Hey, and stuff. But the main thing is keep the man happy. That way I don't get the big E on my mobile home because I don't have the money to move it.
All right.
Well, thank you for your time and everything.
Thank you.
And you, ladies and gentlemen of the commission, have a good day.
You too. All right, moving on to the next order of business. We got liens, 168 letters sent.
We're getting ready for the lien process. Benny sent those over to the county.
Okay. Would you like to explain to anybody watching what exactly you mean by that?
It would be delinquent water bills that have not been paid over a 6-month period. Then we go through the paperwork and file with the county. There's a lien placed on your residence or property, whatever it may be.
And on the same topic of non-payment, can we briefly describe the shut-off process policy? Let's go ahead and
It is
explain
the
that to-
second Tuesday of every month. If you're, basically you have Monday at close of business to get your payment in. Or come Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock, we have the list of everybody that's going to be shut off. If you pay on Tuesday, we will turn you back on Wednesday, but you will be off for 24 hours. And that is our policy. There's no way around it. This is what it is.
Hey, Aaron, it is actually the first Tuesday after the first Friday of the month. So
First
it's not
Tuesday.
always the second Tuesday.
First Tuesday after the first Friday.
Yeah.
Election day, Tuesday.
But it's always on the front of the bill. Every month, on the front of the bill, it tells you the date of the shut-off.
Sure. Okay.
How many liens were stormwater only?
And it's printed on every bill we send out. So
Okay.
it's been advertised since the first of the year when we changed the policy.
Right. And then once they're sent to the county, they have to pay it at the county. They can't come to the water office.
Yes. And there's also a 10% fee added to that the county adds above and beyond what the lien is.
Pay your bill. All right. All right, wastewater treatment plant at 30% design, and I'm gonna give that to Mr. Reinhardt.
Yeah. Charlie. Yes, we reached a milestone. We made 30% design out at the wastewater treatment plant. So, yeah, you can kind of explain the process. Charlie Brown, our wastewater
Morning, everybody. Our 30% design is a phase in engineering that basically looks at the project all inclusively as far as the design, the elements, as far as the budgeting, the timeline of the project. It's basically the foundation of the whole design project. And right now, again, we're at 30%. And then after you get to that particular, I guess you would say, I don't know what you say. When you get to that stage, certain things kick in and you go to the next level. Basically, you go forward with a lot of different things. One of the things that we should be looking at right now is the CMAR project. And that is a project delivering method, and that evaluates the costs also. It evaluates labor and materials and helps understand basically budgeting for the future of the project. So we're at a pretty good stage right now. What we're under is Ohio EPA has a schedule and a guideline for us, and we got to try to keep that schedule as best as we can. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
30% kind of folds into the next item on the agenda, the CMAR, which we have here is a proposal for Arcadis to help us along in this CMAR process. This was something we had talked about 4 or 5 months ago, getting the paperwork ready to go and everything on our end, but we just haven't had time to get to that. So I would think it's time that we bring someone in to help us through this process, along with Rob's help, Brian's input, kind of a collaborative.
Well, I would note that we currently have a potential, we were discussing the CMAR type of construction for the new courthouse and the police department, and we're hoping to get some people up here to talk about that with council for next Tuesday, and hopefully that will help smooth the way as we move into that type of process with the new wastewater treatment plant.
The only situation you have with that is we're under the guidelines of the Ohio EPA. We have a schedule to keep. I
Yes.
think that should go forward before any other projects are
Right,
actually.
but Charlie, so the idea is we are working to retain legal counsel to write the documents for both projects. So that, those interviews have been completed, and the CMAR process would be created for all the projects using the same effort.
Even though we're under a schedule and a guideline.
We are also
from the
under a
state.
schedule to build the police station.
Okay.
I believe that's a shorter schedule.
Yeah. And part of it is that council has never done that before, and so we need to educate them so that they are comfortable with us
Gotcha.
going forward. That's the bigger point that I was trying to make, rather than talk about the particular primacy of any one project. Council's never done this before, and until they're comfortable with it, none of these projects are going to go forward this way. So,
So, let me get this straight. You've had an interview
We've
with,
we've interviewed 2 outside law firms, and yesterday we selected one, and we have a meeting scheduled for a committee meeting scheduled on Tuesday, and I'm hoping to get them up here too to do a presentation to council.
Right. The
About
law
the
firm
whole-
would
about
give an
the-
educational
Yeah.
presentation on CMAR for all types of projects, because
Mm-hmm.
essentially what we're asking them to do with the current legislation is adopt CMAR.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to spend, you have a quote for $98,000. We're not going to spend money
so
to
we're,
create
hold on a second.
a framework
'cause
until we have permission. to
We're
do
getting
it.
out ahead of what my question was. So you guys you've had an interview with law firms to help draft this document for construction on the police station and the courthouse. And then they've got a project that they're cooking up.
Well, no, the interviews they would help with the CMAR as a whole.
Sure. So you're doing the CMAR process for the entirety of the city, which could be used cookie cutter for any project that we use for
Yes.
CMAR.
Once council but part of it is getting council
Sure, council has their role.
has to understand
yeah.
and be comfortable with that process,
Right.
which is what we're aiming to do next Tuesday.
And you two were in those meetings.
Yes.
Who should have been in that meeting?
Well, because we're.
Me.
Okay.
This is the breakdown.
Uh-huh.
I will be instrumental in all of these construction projects and in these department projects. And this is the breakdown in communication that everybody constantly gripes about.
Okay.
So when I have to play King Solomon, and this half is my baby and this half is my baby, and then here we are in front of God and everybody, and I don't even know that this is happening, and then I'm supposed to sit over there in front of that guy and explain to him, what is all this? And 3 or 4 of these other guys go, what's happening? And we all look like clowns. It's because I wasn't in that meeting.
Well, the thought was that we're hiring people to draft legal documents.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the CEO of the city.
Yep. So.
The other thing, if we put the brakes on this again, I mean, we're already behind by 4 or 5 months on getting the CMAR put in place. We're going to lose our team of engineers that we have now.
My concern as management is that I have machinery that is over 25 years old that's been operating and moving parts, and we have to be diligent in addressing these things. Because in the long run, if we don't put us on a schedule, one that is viable, it's going to be more cost.
So the CMAR that you guys have worked on, that I will now be a part of the conversation on, when it comes to these construction projects, will it be in any way complicated by Arcadis working on this project? If they were to go out and do a CMAR specifically for utility, because that will have nothing to do with the courthouse, the police station, a city hall annex, and potentially a fire station in the next 35 years at this rate.
Well, it's redundant. We've already purchased the EJCDC documents. We own those as a city, so I'm not sure that was considered in this work. And I don't know if they're hiring legal services under this. I have just saw this today.
Yeah.
So what Rob is working on is the top level framework, because right now we've never done it, and city council hasn't used this type of work before. So at the last meeting,
City council is going to be willing, having been a former member and having one sitting right here, city council is going to be willing to hear out whatever its, legal representation and the professionals that we bring in front of them are going to hear out. But they should be, and you can speak up if you'd like, they should be willing to turn over a lot of the questions that I think not only the public expects them to ask, but the public will also ask, which is this going to move projects along in a cheaper fashion? Because we're not seeing shovels in the ground. And that's what we get whenever we go to Kroger. That's what we get when we talk to people in, public settings like this. So what is the most, expedited way to do this in a fiscally responsible way?
The CMAR is because if you do the traditional design, bid, build.
And I think that we're beyond that. I think we agree that the CMAR is.
Yeah.
But is there a world where Arcadis works on, and I'm agnostic.
I have no information about Arcadis. This is the first time sitting down here seeing this packet. I'm talking about.
I don't even know that it's a question of, is Arcadis the right company? They're the the girl that's willing to take us to the prom apparently. But my question is it reasonable that another company or another representative, I'll just use that term, is going to work on a utility project while the rest of us are doing the big ticket items that the public's paying attention to?
Well, you're going to have a CMAR for each of those different things.
Sure.
And so
Which is kind of my
we're
thought process.
Yeah, what we're doing here is we're having someone help us design the documents that the city will use as its foundation for all of its contracting, not specifically choosing a contractor for any of these projects.
Right.
And we're bringing in the lawyers hopefully for next Tuesday, trying to still work out that scheduling, to allow them to explain the whole CMAR process, the benefits, the potential where, because everything has trade-offs, where the trade-offs are with the traditional design, bid, build process, so that council understands that before they send us out to do the bid for the CMAR for the courthouse and the police department.
right, so let me explain, let me back up a level. This that you signed this morning is a standard terms and conditions for an engineering architect agreement. It's 5 pages, it's a simple agreement. If you're gonna do work for us as an engineering firm, you're supposed to sign this agreement.
Yep.
We have a standard contract for construction. When we go out to bid, there's a 64-page document. If you bid on it, which will be opening bids today on a project, you agree that you're gonna follow that standard agreement. What we do not have is a standard agreement for a CMAR. The goal is that we create one agreement that will cover utility projects, building projects, and it's vetted so that one agreement is, you say, if you want to be a CMAR for the city of Mount Vernon, you have to sign this agreement, and it covers all types of projects that we would ever use a CMAR for.
What's the timeline on having that document? Is it the passage of the resolution at council and then crafting it with that law firm?
We have already started the crafting of the documents.
Okay.
But council will need to pass the legislation for that, because we're looking at, like I said, this is the first time I've seen these Arcadis documents. We're looking at $100,000, which trips our...
And this is, frankly, to this conversation right now, irrelevant.
Okay.
When do more people that have projects in this hand, namely these guys, but when do I get to see that document?
It'll be 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
So, hang on a second. Let's talk about schedule.
Because what won't happen is a Nancy Pelosi situation where we have to pass it before we find out what's in it. Like, I want to be involved intimately in this process. That way I can communicate that to council, the public, and the other departments that have a hand in this.
Right. So let's make sure we understand. So the 30% drawings are published, and when are the comments due back to Arcadis?
At any time, we're reviewing everything.
Right, but then they say they're gonna start full go
We have a
in
meeting on
January.
the 18th.
Right. If I remember, they're gonna staff up and
Yeah.
hit design hard. in
Basically, we've
January.
been working with Arcadis for years, literally.
When did we start the
And-
wastewater project? The phosphorus?
Well,
18?
Okay, that's not the,
I think it's 2018 we started this project, and it keeps getting kicked down the road.
I'm just asking for Arcadis's schedule.
They're on hold until we have something ready.
They're actually
We have-
pulling
when
back.
when are the comments due back?
We haven't had that meeting.
Yes.
Okay,
We
so
have the plan.
while we're in the review part of the 30%, while we have the advertisements out for the courthouse and the police station, we're in the process of creating these documents. So that there is a seamless step into next fiscal year when we can plus up the Arcadis contracts and we can enter the contracts for the police and the courthouse.
The thing of it is, this was all supposed to have taken place 4 to 5 months ago. It was brought up in meetings.
The commitment was to start the CMAR process in November. I believe that's what we've said the whole time. So we kicked it off.
I don't
We
have
had a
any-
meeting at city council. We talked that we were,
This was all meetings with Arcadis.
With Arcadis, the conversations was approximately 4 to 5 months ago that we need to get on the CMAR project. Arcadis can be utilized as an all-inclusive engineering firm. Basically, they can do the CMAR for us. They can do a rate study for us. They can do just about anything that comes through, like grants. So what is occurring right now is they're stepping back and waiting on us. And as we wait, the schedule keeps on going and going and going. So just to,
What
so you
is
guys to
the-
be aware,
What is the EPA schedule?
I don't have it right in front of me, but we're coming close to where we're going to have to get on the phone with them and say, hey, certain things have occurred. So.
Well, no action needs to be taken on this by this commission, but it sounds like we all need to have a meeting. All right. Next. So, rate study for water and wastewater.
That is, there's a proposal in front of you for a full rate study for water and wastewater. And it's, to my knowledge, there's never been anything done by a professional organization outside of the city.
CT, what were they called back then? The last professional study would have been 2003.
So in recent times, there
Yeah.
has been no,
Okay. About that time, sounds like.
You only normally do them every quarter of a century?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Is that how they normally
We're
work?
one up on the game then, how about that? Okay.
We did a study on the fees for the capacity fees.
Isn't there a stormwater
And
study?
we did a stormwater
We did
study,
a
but this would
stormwater
not,
study.
is this correct? This would only be water and wastewater. So yeah, it's time.
Do you want to include a stormwater study? No? You don't think
Do you want to raise the rate? Because that's what the answer is going to be.
that? Yeah, well, I know
So
that.
I think
good to-
in the way of things, it's the utility, it's water and wastewater's turn.
Sure.
I think stormwater needs to take a backseat because this is important.
So, would be good to have more modern data when we're making a decision 5 to 7 years out.
this way, this would, yeah, include all the CIPs. It's gonna give you a snapshot of
Yeah. Just a consideration, I'll kick it to the experts, but
No, I
guys?
think we need to focus on this. This is going, so the thing this is
I don't
gonna
know
be.
how much it'll convolute it if we
Well,
added that, but.
this is going to be a good bit of work because we need to, like Aaron and I talked before the meeting, there's a lot of camera data that hasn't been downloaded, hasn't been reviewed of the sewer system. And organizing that data, getting it on a server, you know, the battle we've had with the servers, right? That data needs to be uploaded, needs to be reviewed, and
Yeah.
that's something that our staff will have to do to be able to feed into.
I really don't have anything to do with the rates.
Yeah, it does.
Well,
You have to know how many feet of sewer are in poor condition and then create a replacement. So there's work that everyone will have to do, and I don't want to slow this down by adding the stormwater work to it. That's my point.
and we're looking at it from, we have a lot of new staff that have been here, and you're gonna dig into the system about your plants, distribution,
Okay.
infiltration, all that.
Yep, all right.
The proposal, it says $65,000, is that right?
It would be split between water and wastewater.
Yeah, but it's below the $75,000 bidding
Correct.
threshold, so that was the point I was making,
Yeah.
so that we don't have to go to council.
Yeah.
So that,
So, cool. All right, anything else on that? Nope, questions?
Do you want a motion to do this, or what is the plan?
I don't know that we
Gonna
need
do
to, yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna do it. Okay, let's just make it clear for the public what the plan is.
So, water treatment plant request for qualifications, RFQ.
The whole lime silo thing from the previous director.
Hold on a second, is that in here anywhere?
No, that's,
Okay.
Yeah, Dave?
and Dave will in there.
The man.
Good morning.
So yeah, long story short, we're back to where we need to design lime silos, slaker building, wherever we're gonna do
Now,
To
we've had some moving around on this one, so, yeah. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, well, a few years ago under the previous director, we kind of got started into a contract with a company that would have replaced our equipment, but it didn't fix any of our existing problems that have been there ever since that plant was built. And our thinking is, if we're going to go ahead and invest money in this and replace that equipment, now's the time to fix our problems. So what we've done is pulled back from that agreement, and we want to move forward, design it properly. And for that, the starting point is we're probably going to have to issue an RFQ so that we can get competing ideas in to move forward.
We've had Hazen and Sawyer come in and we've talked with them. Since then, I've heard several months ago.
Yes. Oh, geez, probably at least 3-4 months ago when we met with Hazen.
So here's another project that kind of keeps getting kicked down the road.
We hired them before the previous director.
Yes,
And then we had a path. He didn't like it,
exactly.
so we changed directions, and I've been trying to get with Dave for about 5 weeks, but you've had a lot going on with your other
geez.
projects.
Yes.
So at your request, we put it on hold until Dave was available.
I thought
So-
that was for the lime side we already
Both.
Okay.
Because remember, I brought out a bunch of drawings, because we ended up with 8 alternatives, and we felt we needed to bring it down to 3 before we start paying consultants.
And part of that is we wanted to actually visit some other sites to see how they're dealing with
Yes.
their lime systems. We've already visited City of Hamilton. And actually this Friday, part of this is Friday of this week, we're actually going over to Delco's Olentangy plant. And we're going to look, their lime system is set up very much like what we feel we want to go towards with ours. But we want to see it in action first. I do know I'm a little familiar with it because I've talked to some people that work with that system, and the beauty of it is that's been in place for over 20 years, and they're not looking at having to replace anything right now because of the way it was designed and built. My fear with what we were going to end up with was 20 years from now, we're going to be standing right here again having another conversation about replacing silos, replacing slakers. You know, it'll probably be a little larger investment up front, but 20 years from now, we won't have to worry about this because we're not mixing water with a caustic inside of a steel tube.
Right, and Dave,
Simply
the other savings when we talk about resilience and things along those lines is we believe, based on benchmarking, that we're using a lot more lime.
Yes.
The way that the system was designed more than 24 years ago.
When I was down at Hamilton a few weeks ago, I was discussing that. Their process is almost identical to ours. Their softening process is identical to ours. Their water is harder, but they're using easily probably 30% less lime than what we are currently using. Now, part of that efficiency, I believe, is in their slaking system. I think the slakers they run are a lot more efficient. And then another component of that is we have some valves that control our lime sludge. And I know there's leakage in those valves, so we're losing efficiency there. I've already got that on the plan for next year to replace all those valves. So we will gain some efficiency from that. But I think we'll gain a lot more efficiency with the new slaking system that's properly designed.
Yep.
Yeah. And currently we're using in the neighborhood of about 1,000 tons of lime a year. And current rate of, I think we're paying $320 a ton.
Well, you'll
So-
find out in a little bit, right? The bid's open.
That bid opening's at 11,
find
yeah.
out.
I'm sure it's only gonna go up.
So, I mean, from my perspective, a reinvestment is, it's time, and we will see a significant savings. If we can cut our consumption by 30%, which I think is an easy target, Dave. I don't know.
I hate committing to that,
But
but
I'm
I
just-
think it's certainly reasonable, I really do.
A reduction of
Yeah.
a significant reduction is a target. So yeah, I agree. I think we should put an RFQ out, and I think we should have, your staff should have the opportunity to interview more than just the company that was picked
Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago.
Another addition to that is I've been at the water plant for 17 years, and I can remember what our lime consumption was when I first hired in. And I can relate that to what our lime consumption is now. And if we can get anywhere back close to where we were at when I hired in, yeah, we'll see that 30% number as well.
Yep.
Yeah, so, yep.
The thing you will need to do is we'll need to have a general statement of what you want, and then a concept plan to send out with it, so that it doesn't have to be crazy detailed, but.
Now, is this something we involve Rob, work with Rob on putting this RFQ out?
Where do you want to post this?
Well, we have a procedure.
Yeah.
Engineering does the RFQs.
Yeah.
So, we would do that, but we need your input on it.
Okay.
Yeah, the engineering department office has the process for this. Where I kick in is with the contract review, both the ones we're setting as general contracts for the city, but also individual contracts as various contractors want changes or things like that. Where some of them show up with their own set of documents, say, we'd like to use these.
Or if they want to sue us.
Yeah, well, there is that too.
I will add, I mean, we visited Hamilton a few weeks ago, and Hamilton has a beautiful facility, and they have a wonderful lime system. I was really excited about going to look at it. I do think it's a little overly complex, so that's why I want to see Delco's tomorrow. I think it's going to be more in line with realistically what we want to go with. Once we have that and we see that, I think then I'll be able to give you the information more precise what you want. Yeah.
No, I think it's perfect timing. Yeah, we're still trying to get rid of lime, and that helps on both. The other thing the public needs to understand is if we use less, then that's less we have to get rid of after it's spent. So it's
By a
almost a
factor of
double,
two.
it's a double savings.
Yeah, because for every ton of lime you use, that's about 2 tons of lime sludge being created. So,
Yep.
yeah, if you can reduce that, we can reduce the other end as well.
I fully support the investment.
Yeah,
Anything else?
that should be it.
Good.
Thank you.
All right. Water permit, bulk water sales.
That is something, the other day I'm over at the billing office, a contractor comes in, wants to purchase bulk water off of us. I said, where's the form to be filled out for that? They say, here's a Post-it note. Get his name, billing address, this and that. Okay.
1970s level of
I have not heard a single issue with this process yet, so go ahead.
So, in the meantime, when Charlie was looking at the septic receiving procedure and that paperwork, and he also came up with a water hauling procedure. So this is something we're looking at adopting, water hauling, septage, kind of across the board, kind of a standard procedure.
Now, not to jump the cart here, but is this something that OpenGov can,
This will be one of the OpenGov permits that we
Okay.
will create. It'll live in the cloud, and they'll have access to it. And the packet here is just kind of the layout of where the permits will be. So
Did you bring any of those carbon forms for Tanner to review?
we're going to start out with that, and then once we get the permit procedure up to where it needs to be, we'll issue everything. Charlie will be able to access it from the wastewater plant. Dave can access it. Billing will have it. Where we need to be. Probably one of the biggest issues we have right now is liability.
liability for what?
If a water hauler hauls mud puddle water,
Yeah.
dumps it, comes in, gets a load of clean fresh water, takes someone's cistern, they happen to get sick. We will take care of that after, we'll have Rob review all the legality of everything. Have him look over it, so.
Have a lovely weekend, Rob.
Well, that's why we have lawyers, is that,
So,
for too long, various departments have just gone and done whatever, and we have lawyers here. We want to be helpful. We want to protect the city. And so I'm glad that you guys are going to run stuff like that through us so that we can help protect the city.
I gotta thank Charlie, he's kind of head and took the bull by the horns on this.
so we're asking at some point, let's look at this commission. We're updating the rules and regulations. Is that the recommendation?
Eventually, yes.
Okay,
If you want to do, well, we'll talk about
not yet.
it. Yeah, not right
Yeah.
now.
This is just kind of a proposal, everybody's kind of looking at it, see how it's gonna flow.
Yeah, because you got a lot of moving parts, I think. But at a certain point, those will need to be updated, but thinking, because right now it doesn't have any electronic aspect to it.
When Robin starts, then we can.
I have an idea that we could discuss. So, we'll- okay.
Yeah, I think it's time. I mean, people call us and we're like, no, engineering doesn't do that. You need to go to the billing office and then you've got to get this little slip of paper and, it's a nightmare.
And it's been decades since we increased rates. We found that out with the septic hauling.
For the bulk water?
Block water and septic.
So when the last rate increase, those got left out. So they're still paying,
2003 rates.
oh, I don't
So-
know. I'm not sure.
So
They got left out of the rate increase for some reason because we had a raft of retirements and that's when the changes started happening. In
So-
2007, the rates were updated when the adjustments happened, but I don't know that what happened after that. Go ahead, Rob.
So do we need to do something with the rates right now, or what are we?
Who changes those rates?
Well, that's an interesting question because the safety service director does, I always screw this up, does the
Water.
water, and then council does wastewater. And so is this hauling into the, so,
It's both. So in
So-
2007, after those step-ups were done, those rates were adjusted. What I think may have happened is we adjusted the basic rates to everyone, and then we started having people retire and a lot of changeover. I don't know that those ever got adjusted.
and then
with
we
the-
did another set of adjustments back in 20, maybe? 21? 20.
Sorry, I said 2007, but 2017. I
Yeah.
know that they were updated in 2017.
Yeah, and then we had another,
So
or
some-
maybe, was it really that long ago that we did?
Well, no, but like if my water meter at my house,
Yeah.
that rate was updated
Yeah,
several times. These may have gotten left behind. I don't know. That's a research project.
yeah, so.
And this will all dovetail into our rate studies.
Yeah.
They'll cover all of
Yeah.
it.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
that's why, another point why that's really important is we gotta look at the whole picture. All the revenue, not just
Yeah.
the water meters.
Okay. Speaking of, update on OpenGov cartograph asset management.
OpenGov Cartograph Asset Management Program is a software that the city purchased. It's a work order program software, and then it also will be able to store all our assets from the water plant, wastewater plant, through the whole city. So we're working on rolling that out now. We're looking probably the second week of January, we'll be going live with that. It's coming along nicely.
OpenGov permit.
And OpenGov Permit is another software program from the same company. That will be our permits. We're working on rolling out a fog permit, fat oils and greases. We will have a backflow permit. Then we'll have the water hauling permit, septic. We'll roll all these utility permits into that program.
Okay.
Go from paper to digital, and there'll be a place that the contractors can access and upload all their logs and all that will be taken care of.
And this will be replacing Asset Essentials.
Correct.
All right. Sanitary lift station rehab projects.
Yeah, I haven't reviewed the plans, but we have 2 of the 3 done. I wanted your folks to review those and make sure that's what you wanted before we pay for the 3rd set of plans.
Well, so we kind of looked at it, and then kind of a general consensus among us. It might be something to put on the back burner for right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying,
Because-
I wanted you to have these so that if you wanted to budget that work for 25. I'm not saying we need to take it to city council right now. I just wanted to make sure that you know, had those, because we agreed in the year, this work plan had doing the work.
How many did you say we've done?
We have 2 designed and 1 is pending. So then if you like the design, then we would finish the 3rd one, and then those could be shelved until you're ready to do the work.
Kind of, yeah, they're definitely not ready. There's no EPA mandate or requirement on it. Both, all the pumps are running fine. Because there's a lot of other things that are
How
happening.
far are we in the design on the 3rd?
Would be, I mean, I think I'd have to look. The 2 are ready to go to the permitting phase. The original direction was these are heated and they're really hard to work on. So we were going to convert it from outside heated shells to submergible to reduce our power consumption. And then they're not dead because our guys are really good at fixing them. So they're in pretty good condition. It's just not.
And Lee put in bigger heaters last year, so that helps that he's elk house heaters.
Yep. So it was something we were requested to do, so we passed that off, and that's something to talk about just for the budget purpose. If it's a 26 project,
Yeah.
it's no problem.
Be interested to see how far we are in design on the 3rd one. Could at least have the designs ready.
Yeah,
to
we
go
can
and-
finish it.
Yeah, show it.
Yep, because we've got the team assembled, and then we're not trying to remember what we did. So we can finish
Well,
it.
once we get to the point where we're ready to pull the trigger on it, we'd like to at least have, you don't want to be 2/3 of the way through on one of them. Just ready to go.
Yeah, it was just a double check that this is what you wanted, because the consultant said, well, you could replace the whole thing, there's all this, there's a lot of options, and that's not what utility asked for, so that was sort of a double check.
And then we're also upgrading our SCADA stuff, so once we're looking into all that, once we get that finalized, we put in something now that is not going to work with the new SCADA.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions on that? Good. Moving on to old business, very old business. Staggered draft fees, or staggered fees. The staggered fees draft. It's no longer a draft, it's a final product. Can't touch it.
I will move to approve this, to put it on the table.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right.
Have we had enough time?
Yeah, no, we've had enough time to dissect every word of this
What
thing.
did we do
now.
with it?
Did we get the new one?
Where is it?
You never got the new one?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I thought
Well, it was great.
she emailed it. I thought she emailed it to everyone from the room.
The other day.
I thought I saw a final version by email.
She edited, a lot of it got edited.
Yeah, there's a lot of work on it. I thought it got emailed out to everybody. Stand by for further intel.
Is that November 1st?
Yeah. We
Yeah.
can go today.
Okay, so,
That was Friday.
yeah, that's November. Okay.
I don't know.
What's it?
April, if I send this to you, can you put it up on the screen?
All I
Who's-
have is this iPad. I don't have any of my stuff on here.
Oh, that's,
All my stuff's over at the office.
well, how about,
No.
I'll email it
Maureen
to
print it?
Maureen and, yeah.
I can't get connected. Cell phone. Put City Hall internet upgrade. Hall and
Yeah,
let her know
go,
it's coming.
We are in a brief 5-minute recess. Yeah, it is. Thank God.
Blowing cold air. That's the ideal seat.
Except for that thing right there. It's blowing hot air still.
Well, really? Oh, is it still?
That one?
This one.
Oh, that one.
Oh, okay.
I got bumped from that chair because of that thing.
Okay, and we're back. Here you go, Todd.
There we go.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Peanut gallery.
This is not the updated version.
Good question. I cannot get this to go to the internet. Come on, wake up. You cannot
Is
quit.
Chloe here?
Oh, no, she's on Friday.
No.
She's in school. Can't get on the internet, so
Not a crisis.
it's a crisis now. Okay, so I think we'll, yeah, just we got the
Gonna
wrong
have to kick
copy.
it. Yep.
So we're gonna revise my motion to move the table till December.
It rides again.
It
All
rides
right,
again.
Cowboy rides again. All right, so, we will table this until, what's that, the December, whatever that day is.
December
To the
meeting.
December meeting, yeah. And, is there any, December 5th, to the December 5th meeting, is there, and my God, we will pass it on that day,
Or else.
some hell or high water. All right.
We'll make sure we send it to Rob for
yeah.
review too, because I don't think I have that.
I didn't have it either. All right, is there anything else that needs to come before the Utilities Commission? If not, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll motion adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second?
Have a second. All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, can stay here. Adjourned at 9:30 on the dot. Look at that.
Good work.
That's for efficiency.
Do we want to amend the council action to include utilities? It's on for the CMAR?
I don't think that's necessary. I
Well-
mean, if it's gonna be CMAR as a CMAR, then
Well, no, because we have it specifically to two projects, because